stop. Before you do anything else today, put your phone down for 10 seconds and listen, because what you do in the first 60 seconds after you wake up may be aging you faster than smoking, faster than sugar, faster than the sun. I've been a physician for over 15 years. I've sat across from thousands of patients, tired, puffy, prematurely gray, with skin that's lost its bounce and energy that crashes by noon. And almost every single one of them swore they were doing everything right. Clean diet, gym membership, vitamins lined up on the counter. But they were all making the same mistake. Every single morning at roughly 6 a.m., and not one of them knew it. Here's the part that should scare you. This isn't a mistake you make once, you're making it tomorrow. You'll make it the day after that. You've probably made it every morning for years, and your body has been quietly keeping score the entire time. Think about that for a second. What if the reason you look older than your friends, the reason your skin is thinning, the reason you feel foggy and exhausted before lunch, has nothing to do with your age and everything to do with one tiny habit you repeat the moment your eyes open? Most doctors won't tell you this. Not because it's a secret, but because it takes 90 seconds to explain. And the supplement companies, the skincare brands, the coffee industry, they'd much rather you keep buying the cure than fixing the cause. So let me be the one who says it plainly. The moment you wake up, your body does something extraordinary. Within 30 minutes, your cortisol, your master stress hormone, naturally surges by up to 75%. This is called the cortisol awakening response, and it's supposed to happen. It's the chemical sunrise inside your body, the signal that lifts you out of sleep and switches your engine on. It's beautiful biology. It's also incredibly fragile. And here's where it goes wrong. Because what most people do at 6 a.m. doesn't gently support that surge. It detonates it. You take a system that was designed to rise like a sunrise and you turn it into an explosion. Day after day, year after year, and chronically elevated cortisol, it doesn't just make you stressed. It eats your collagen, it thins your skin, it scrambles your blood sugar, it shrinks a part of your brain tied to memory, and at the deepest level, the cellular level, it accelerates the aging clock built into your own DNA. That's not a metaphor. We can measure it. We can watch a person's biological age pull ahead of their actual age by years. 10 years in some cases, same birthday, two completely different bodies. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what this mistake is and how to undo it in under a minute a day, for free. But first, I have to walk you through what's actually happening inside you, because once you see it, you'll never make this mistake again. We're going to count down from 5 down to 1 through everything this single 6 a.m. habit is destroying. And number 1 is the one that genuinely keeps longevity researchers up at night. It's the reason two people the same age can look a decade apart. But before we get to your DNA, let's start with the one you see in the mirror every morning, the first thing this mistake comes for. Your skin. Number 5, your skin, and the collagen you're burning alive. Here's what nobody tells you. Cortisol and collagen are enemies. When cortisol stays high, it switches on enzymes that literally break collagen and elastin apart, the two proteins that keep your skin firm, plump, and bouncing back. High morning cortisol, repeated every single day, is like leaving a slow fire burning under your face. And it gets worse. Cortisol also blocks your skin from making new collagen to replace what's lost. So you're tearing down the scaffolding and shutting off the repair crew at the same time. That's not aging, that's demolition. This is why two people can eat the same food, drink the same water, and get the same sun. And one has tight, glowing skin at 40, while the other has fine lines, hollow cheeks, and that tired, deflated look. The difference often isn't genetics. It's what their cortisol is doing at 6 a.m. Let me tell you about a patient. I'll call her Sarah. 41, marketing executive, spent a fortune on serums and facials. She came in convinced something was medically wrong because her skin had aged 5 years and 18 months. Her blood work was clean. But when I asked one question, "What's the very first thing you do when you wake up?" she went quiet. Then she said, I check my work email in bed before I even sit up. There it was, 18 months of starting every single day with a stress spike before her feet even touched the floor. The fix, almost insultingly simple. For the first 30 minutes after waking, do not touch anything stressful. No email, no news, no scrolling. Let that cortisol surge rise and fall the way nature designed it. Sarah did exactly that, why nothing else. And 4 weeks later told me people were asking what treatment she'd had. The treatment was nothing, that's the point. But your skin is just the surface, literally. Because while your face is the first thing this mistake comes for, it's not the most dangerous. Let's go deeper. Number 4, your blood sugar. The metabolic trap you're walking into half asleep. Cortisol has one job in an emergency: flood your bloodstream with glucose so your muscles can fight or run. Useful if you're being chased. A disaster if you're just lying in bed doom scrolling. When you spike your cortisol at 6 a.m., your liver dumps sugar into your blood. For a threat that doesn't exist. Now your blood sugar is high before you've eaten a single thing. Do this every morning for years, and your cells slowly stop responding to insulin. That's the first quiet step on the road to insulin resistance. Stubborn belly fat, energy crashes, and eventually type 2 diabetes. One of the fastest accelerators of biological aging we know of. And here's the cruel twist. That elevated cortisol also drives cravings for sugar and refined carbs by mid-morning. So the habit creates the hunger, and the hunger deepens the damage. It's a loop, and most people are trapped inside it without ever realizing they walked in at sunrise. The fix builds on the first. Protect those early minutes. Then, before caffeine, drink a glass of water and get natural light into your eyes. Light is the single most powerful signal to regulate cortisol and reset your metabolic clock for the day. So that's your skin and your metabolism. Real damage, real fixes. But now the stakes climb. Because the next two are no longer about how you look or how you feel, they're about your brain and your heart. And number 3 changes how you think. Number 3, your brain and the memory center this mistake is quietly shrinking. Deep inside your brain sits a small, seahorse-shaped structure called the hippocampus. It's where memories are formed. It's where you hold focus. It's a huge part of what makes you feel sharp, present, you. And it is loaded with cortisol receptors, which means it listens to your stress hormone more closely than almost any other part of your body. Here's the frightening part. In short bursts, cortisol sharpens the brain, but chronically elevated cortisol does the opposite. It's been shown in study after study to impair memory, slow your thinking, and over years is associated with actual shrinkage of the hippocampus. Researchers have found that people with higher long-term cortisol levels tend to have measurably lower brain volume and poorer memory performance, even in healthy middle-aged adults with no disease at all. Read that again. Healthy people, no illness, just chronically high cortisol, quietly costing them brain tissue. So that brain fog at 10 a.m., the word that's right on the tip of your tongue, walking into a room and forgetting why? We'd love to laugh it off as getting older. But for a lot of people, it isn't age. It's a nervous system that's been stuck in alarm mode since 6 a.m. every morning for a decade. I had a patient, a 53-year-old engineer, brilliant man, convinced he was in the early stages of dementia. Terrified, his scans were clean. But his cortisol pattern was a wreck, and his mornings started with a blaring alarm, the snooze button slammed 4 times, then straight into the news. Chaos, before consciousness. We fixed the mornings. Fixed the fog. 3 months later, the fog lifted. It wasn't his memory failing. It was his mornings poisoning it. But even your brain isn't the most urgent one on this list, because the next system doesn't just age slowly, it can stop. Number 2, your heart, and the deadliest hour of the day. Let me give you a fact that should genuinely make you sit up. Heart attacks and strokes do not strike evenly across the day. They cluster dramatically in the early morning hours. The window right after you wake is statistically the single most dangerous time of day for a fatal cardiovascular event. Why? Because that natural cortisol surge already raises your blood pressure and tightens your blood vessels to get you moving. That's normal. Your heart can handle the natural rise. What it struggles with is the spike on top of the spike. You jolt awake to a screaming alarm, you grab your phone, and your heart rate jumps at a stressful message. Your body slams the accelerator on a cardiovascular system that's already revving, at the most vulnerable hour it has. Do this once, you recover. Do this every morning for 20 years, and you are training your arteries to live under pressure. High blood pressure stiffens vessels, accelerates plaque, and ages your entire cardiovascular system. The system that, more than almost any other, determines how long you actually live. This is the moment the word aging stops being about wrinkles and starts being about years. Real years. Off the back end of your life. And here's what ties it all together: the skin, the blood sugar, the brain, the heart. Every single one of these is downstream of one root cause. One clock. One mechanism buried inside your cells that all of this damage feeds back into. And that is number one. The one longevity scientists are most afraid of. This is the one. The reason two people with the same birthday can stand in the same room and look and be a decade apart. Number one, your telomeres. The aging clock inside every single cell you own. Let me explain it simply, because once you understand this, you'll never see your morning the same way again. Every cell in your body holds your DNA coiled up tight. And on the very tips of those DNA strands sit protective caps called telomeres. Picture the little plastic tips on the ends of your shoelaces. As long as those tips are intact, the lace stays whole. When they fray, the whole thing unravels. That's exactly what telomeres do. Every time a cell divides, the telomere gets a little shorter. When it wears down too far, the cell can no longer divide properly. It stops working, it ages, it dies. And as your cells age, your skin, your organs, your blood vessels, your brain, you age. Telomere length is one of the truest measures we have of biological age. Not the number on your birthday cake. The number inside your cells. Now here's the discovery that won a Nobel Prize and should be on every refrigerator on Earth. Chronic psychological stress while you walk, and the chronically elevated cortisol that comes with it, is directly linked to shorter telomeres. Landmark research found that people under sustained, unmanaged stress had telomeres significantly shorter than their calmer peers. A difference researchers estimated could correspond to up to a decade of additional cellular aging. There it is. That's your 10 years. Not a marketing line. A measurable cellular reality. So now connect everything. The skin, the blood sugar, the brain fog, the heart. They aren't 5 separate problems. They are 5 symptoms of one root cause. A body marinating in stress hormones it was never meant to hold. Triggered, reinforced, and repeated every morning at 6 a.m. And the mistake itself? Let me finally say it in one sentence. The mistake is hijacking your body's natural morning cortisol surge with instant stress. Reaching for your phone, your email, your alarm snooze chaos, your bad news, in the first 30 minutes after you wake. That's it. That's the whole thing. The most fragile, formative window of your entire day. And most people detonate it before they've even stood up. I want to tell you about one more patient. A woman, 62, who'd lost her husband young to a heart attack and had spent decades terrified she'd age the same way. When she came to me, her biological markers were years ahead of her age. We didn't change her diet first. We didn't add a single pill. We changed her first 30 minutes. No phone, water, sunlight. A few slow breaths. Stillness before stimulation. 18 months later, her blood pressure had dropped, her inflammation markers had fallen, her energy had come roaring back. And she cried in my office, not from fear, from relief. Because for the first time in her life, she felt like she was aging with her body instead of against it. That is the power hiding in those 30 minutes. The same window that's been aging you is the exact window that can give those years back. So the question is no longer what the mistake is, you know now. The question is what you do tomorrow morning, because tomorrow at 6 a.m., your cells are going to start keeping score all over again. And I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to win. So let's bring it home. Because everything I've shown you sounds heavy. Your skin, your blood sugar, your brain. your heart, your DNA. But here is the truth that changes everything. This is the rare problem where the cause and the cure live in the exact same place. The same 30 minutes that have been aging, you are the 30 minutes that can rebuild you. You don't need a prescription. You don't need $1,000 device. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You need to protect one small sacred window. And your body, which has been quietly keeping score against you, will start keeping score for you instead. Let me give you the whole protocol in one breath, so you have it. When you wake up tomorrow, do not reach for your phone. Let it wait. That single act protects your skin's collagen, steadies your blood sugar, and shields your heart at its most vulnerable hour. Next, drink a glass of water before anything else. You woke up dehydrated, and water gently tells your body the day has begun without sounding the alarm. Then get natural light into your eyes. Step outside or stand at a window. Light is the master switch that tells your cortisol when to rise and, just as importantly, when to fall. And finally, take 60 seconds of slow breathing before you let the world in. Stillness before stimulation. That's the whole secret. That's what calms the surge instead of detonating it. And over weeks and months, that's what protects the telomeres taking inside every cell you own. 5 systems, 1 window, 1 decision you get to make every single morning for the rest of your life. And think about what that really means. Most people spend years and fortunes chasing the symptoms. The creams, the supplements, the fixes that come too late. You now understand the cause. You're already ahead of almost everyone you know. Not because you're younger, because you finally know where the clock actually lives. You are not powerless against aging. You never were. You just didn't know which 30 minutes mattered most. Now you do. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, before you sleep, put your phone across the room. Not on the nightstand. Tomorrow morning, just try it once. 30 minutes. Phone down, water, light, breath. 1 morning. See how different you feel by noon, then do it again the next day. That's how 10 years gets handed back to you. Not all at once, but one quiet sunrise at a time. And I genuinely want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what is the very first thing you normally do when you wake up? Be honest. Phone, alarm, coffee, news, whatever it is, type it below. I read these and I'll reply to as many as I can with a small tweak, personalized to your morning. If this opened your eyes even a little, hit subscribe. Because your body is sending you signals every single day. And on this channel, I'm going to keep teaching you how to read them before they become something serious. Your future face, your future heart, your future mind, they're all being shaped by what you do in the next sunrise. Make it count. I'll see you in the next one.